Good morning, friends. Happy Sunday. We are just about to leave for church. It's, I don't know, probably just after 8:30 in the morning. Sherri is in here getting ready. Hi, Sherri Beth. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. What are you doing?
Putting on makeup. Stop.
Oh, sorry. Morning weather update. It is still wintry and snowy outside. We probably only ended up getting, honestly, maybe an inch of snow, but the temperature is staying below freezing, so it's sticking around. In fact, this morning outside, it is 27 degrees. So we finished at church this morning. It was excellent. Glad we went. But honestly, the rest of our day, it's kind of been a bit of a fail.
Life fails one after another.
So as you guys know, we are not big morning people, but we've been going to the early service at church. And so we're up earlier than we normally are, and the world, well, it's different than we know it in the morning. So we had plans after church. We were going to go downtown to the Alaska Federation of Natives conference. Conference ended yesterday. So the convention center is totally empty. I thought it went through today. So then we're like, okay, well, we've been wanting to go to the museum. There's a exhibition going on that we really want to see. Plus there's a new expansion to the museum we've been wanting to check out. So we pull up to park in the parking garage.
It doesn't open till noon.
The museum doesn't open till noon. It's 11. Mm-hmm. This is why we don't wake up early.
There's nothing open. Nobody else wants to wake up early either.
Yeah, the world just... Can we all just agree?
No more early services at church because the 3 people that are there don't want to be there anyway.
Nobody wants to be there.
Just move it to 11.
Yep. We're going to officially say that Sunday is at home. If you wake up early, cool. Stay home, rest, be under a blanket, start a fire, maybe build a snowman, do something at your house. Mm-hmm. At noon, all the doors unlock and we can officially leave our house and go into the world. Mm-hmm. Before noon, there's just nothing you even want to see or do because nothing's open.
Right.
So we found a restaurant that's open. We're going to go eat some lunch.
Keeping in mind, this is restaurant number 4 or 5 that we've driven past. This is the first one that was actually open.
So we're going to go here. We're going to have lunch. And then it should be noon and the museum will be open.
Hopefully.
Trying to be an early rising adult, take 2. So this is where we're going to have breakfast. It's called the Sizzlin' Cafe. We have never eaten here, but it's open and I think they serve breakfast and lunch. So we are going to check it out. So with Sherri's lunch, she ordered the soup. She got the broccoli and cheese soup, but her server, really funny, he was like, it looks really watery. So I went ahead and brought you another soup as well.
That's the chicken noodle.
Look at how good the chicken noodle looks though. So many good vegetables, chunky and fresh. That is super watery for a broccoli and cheese soup.
It's really good flavor.
It is really good. It tastes just like you want broccoli and cheese soup to taste. Mm-hmm. Plus, free soup. Mm-hmm. Our breakfast has arrived. I went with the 3 buttermilk pancakes. They're kind of stuck together a little bit. A side of bacon. Sherri went with the bacon blue cheeseburger. That burger looks excellent. But first, Sherri, pickle test. See, Sherri and I have this theory that when a restaurant serves pickles with a meal, that based on the quality of pickle, you can tell the quality of everything else. Because if they don't skimp on the pickle, if they get the pickle right, they probably got everything else right. Let's see if they got the pickle right.
Average.
An average pickle. So let's see if it's average food. I would say the pickle test proved 100% accurate with that place. It was
good, not great.
Good, not great. I'm telling you guys, the pickle test really does work. Next time you're at a restaurant, if they have a good, crunchy, high quality, delicious pickle, the rest of the meal is gonna be excellent. Mm-hmm. If they skimp on a pickle, they probably skimp on everything else. And leave us a comment below. Do you guys have any weird things like that you gauge the quality of a restaurant or a business by? Because we definitely swear by the pickle test. So this is our first time at the Anchorage Museum since they went through a big remodel. And a lot of the photos that we've seen online are pretty cool because they gave a lot of it a very kind of modern and updated look. So we can't wait to go check it out. So Muse is the restaurant inside the museum, and Sherri and I were commenting the outside tables on a snowy Sunday morning when it's 28 degrees don't get a lot of use apparently. Also, hi Moose.
And bear, and fox, and goose.
Yeah. So all of this stuff is new. This is a Mastodon jaw. This is an American lion skull. I bet that's what Missy's skull would look like. And this is a pokey-toothed Hipposaurus rex. It is the rarest of all the Hipposaurus rex. Is any of that true?
Yeah, he's making that up.
I just made all that up. That's not very thoughtful. They just finished this new museum expansion and then this dinosaur comes in and like breaks up the wall. Rude. And I don't know what this is, but it's a big bird that apparently likes doing some kick dancing. This is cool. This piece is called a Terra. You'll see it's a super long LED paneled wall, kind of resembling northern lights, color changing. I want that in our house. So the Alaska section of the museum has always been my favorite part. It's kind of the unique part of this museum as opposed to other museums around the country, obviously. And this is the part that went through one of the huge renovations that we haven't seen. So I'm so excited to go check out the Alaska part. Sherri's reading some stuff along the walls, of course. But let's go look at the new Alaska section. This is the wall you see when you walk in. And I gotta say, this is Instagram heaven. One of the first things you see when you walk in are these giant screens up here. And then in front of all of them are these touch screens. And so you can select different areas of the state. For example, we're gonna select down here, Southeast Alaska. This is Dude Mountain. And then you can see it's got like a little controller here. And as I control this, basically you can check out 360-degree panoramic views of that. Super cool. So these are ulus. Ulu's a traditional Alaska Native knife. You can still buy them in like gift shops and stuff around. But this is actually pretty cool. A whole collection of different styles from around Alaska from different native peoples. Here's some different parkas. This is a traditional Inupiaq parka from Point Hope, made out of like doll sheep, red fox, a number of other animals. Look at how beautiful that is. Just the craftsmanship and the detail on that. This is another one of the interactive parts of the museum. You can see the screen they're projecting ahead of us. This says, before European contact, Alaska Native peoples relayed information and history for generations by spoken word and visual records. And then over here, you can actually tell the story with images. So you can tell your own story by aligning the sliders on the icons. And then it will project up here. So Sherri, tell us a story. You can see as Sherri's pushing buttons down here, different things are being projected in front of us. That's a good story you're telling, Sherri.
Thanks.
You're welcome. So Sherri, would you show us how this kind of works?
Yeah, you just pull this down to whatever image you want it to show on the screen.
And then whatever you select, it projects. And so you'll see kind of the progression from where we started over here, where it's talking about like a lot of native peoples, kind of the traditional First Nation peoples, boats and tools and ways that they adapted to the land and used what they had. And then over here it goes through like when missionaries and fur traders started to arrive. And then you get into some sections about like Russian Orthodox missionaries. And then we're gonna move into the areas of more modern Alaska, the gold rush and that sort of stuff. And I just love that there's this whole progression through Alaska's history, telling all of these different stories of the land and of the people who lived here. And this is great. And this is kind of a cool section showing like a lot of old school Alaska travel posters and pieces that were used to kind of promote Alaska and build interest in this new land. Posters of some of the early movies depicting Alaska. You'll see some screens back here showing some of that as well. Sherri, what do you think so far?
I think it's cool.
Yeah?
You did a good job.
Now we're moving into some of the World War II parts of Alaska history. You know, a lot of people don't know that Alaska's the only place in the United States that during World War II, hand-to-hand combat actually happened on our land. Remember, Pearl Harbor was attacked, so no combat actually happened there. But on the Aleutian Chain here in Alaska, it actually happened. You'll see right here, these are leaflets from World War II that were actually designed to convince Japanese soldiers to surrender. So out on the Aleutian Chain, as I said, there were a number of Japanese that invaded that part and actually occupied that part of Alaska, and these were the leaflets that the United States military dropped, encouraging them to surrender. It's just amazing. It's part of World War II in American history that not a lot of people know. Even a lot of people here in Alaska don't know, but it is super fascinating. It's a moose, but then look on this side. So there's the moose's head. On the other side of the wall, the rest of the moose's body. Alaska being the 49th state, obviously 49-star flags are pretty rare to come by, but here's one. I would love one day to own one of these. And what's really cool about this flag especially says this American flag was flown over the United States Capitol building in Washington, D.C. on July 4th, 1959. The date the flag officially changed from 48 to 49 stars to represent the newest state in the Union. That's a pretty cool piece of American history right there. Also, Sherri found another interactive puzzle game. What are you doing? Bill, what are you building?
I don't know.
You don't know, but you're having fun?
Yeah.
Alaska is cold.
Well, that's true.
So one of my very favorite things so far about the new museum is the fact that they kept pieces from the old museum. See, this is where I would have come on school field trips when I was a kid. And so I've been to this museum dozens and dozens of times. And one of the parts of this museum that's always been here, obviously, is a section on the 1964 Good Friday earthquake that just decimated Anchorage and a lot of Alaska. And there's something here that's always been part of the earthquake exhibit that's just so amazing to me and shows the power of the earthquake. And they kept it. I want to show it to you. It is this I-beam that absolutely was bent and destroyed. And I remember as a kid coming to the museum and like this piece of metal showing me the true power of what earthquakes can do. Like I grew up seeing photos like this, photos like this, photos like these, and this one. But for some reason, this bent piece of metal, like as a kid, always kind of, it didn't frighten me, but it made me realize that if I'm going to live in Alaska, I need to be ready for earthquakes, because anything that has the power to do this has the power to do like lots of damage, and so I just need to be prepared. So I'm so glad they kept this bent I-beam as part of the earthquake exhibit. You know, earthquakes are part of life in Alaska, and right here it even says that an earthquake occurs every 15 minutes. But the 1964 earthquake was no normal earthquake. It remains the second largest seismic event ever in recorded history. It was a 9.4, and it wasn't a 9.4 that just kind of shook for a second. It shook for minutes and minutes. In fact, like friends that we have that lived here through the earthquake still to this day say that no matter how small an earthquake is that happens, like it kind of terrifies them because they hope that it's not another one like 1964. Now we're heading into some of the more modern parts. You'll see here's a piece depicting the Trans-Alaskan oil pipeline. This is actually kind of cool, just a bunch of neon signs. And Sherri made the point that like if you're Alaskan, you recognize a lot of these and know what these means, like 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off. A lot of people might not know that, but those people that work on the North Slope, even today, a lot of them have a 2 week on, 2 week off work rotation. For instance, the circles right here, those are on the Alaska Center for the Performing Arts, downtown Anchorage. It's just, these are kind of a cool way to showcase Alaska as it grew through the oil boom days. This is the Art of the North exhibit. It features a lot of really well-known Alaskan artists. Probably no more artists here in Alaska more famous than Sidney Lawrence. Sherri, would you go stand by that painting just for a reference on size? This thing is ginormous. It's always been one it's always been one of my absolute favorite paintings here in the museum. And this is my first time seeing it in its new home. How come none of your art is in here, Sherri?
Well, I'm not that famous yet.
So this is fun. In one of the back rooms here in the Alaska area, they have these fluffy, pink, colorful bears. I don't know how else to describe it. These are really cool.
So now we're heading upstairs to the 3rd floor to the Art of Fandom exhibit.
Here is the entrance to the Art of Fandom. So many cool graphics and stuff, and you'll see here Big Villain 6. Not Disney. Yeah, I don't think they would come out with a evil Baymax. And once again, Sherri finds the interactive spaces in the museum. Here she is with some tracing paper, kind of a light box, drawing some comic stuff. Let's see if you have a career as a graphic novelist. Oh.
I'm guessing no.
Well, it turned out. I mean, it turned out. Sherri, I want you to run through the Stargate. Just run as fast as you can. Please. We'll get a lot of views.
Smashing my face into the wall.
Woman breaks face running through fake Stargate at museum. It's going to be amazing.
Awesome.
Here we have some Star Trek stuff. Different posters. So we're leaving the Star Trek area into the Star Wars area. And I think these are some of the coolest pieces in the entire exhibition. Check this out. So it looks like there's like a projection light, and it looks like Darth Vader on the wall. But if you look at it, what they've done is they've arranged all of these broken pieces in such a way so that when the light hits it from the front, it projects that on the wall. It's so cool. Here's this one, just a lot of broken pieces, but arranged so it's R2. We got a glimpse into this room we're going into next. How excited are you?
So excited.
So it's a literary fandom, but we can see the candles up top like we're in Hogwarts. So we're sitting here on a couch, fireplace in front of us, all the floating candles above us, Harry Potter stuff on that wall, Harry Potter stuff on this wall, Sherri going around taking photos of everything. I think we've decided we're just going to live here until this exhibition leaves in, I think it's March. So if you guys need us from now until March, we'll be right here.
We'll be hanging out at Hogwarts.
We'll be hanging out at Hogwarts under the candles on the couch. And you can tell it's us because we'll be the people that security is probably trying to remove. But Sherri just noticed that these candles above us are actually on spools up in the grid. So they are like raising and lowering above our heads. You can kind of see that candle going up there. Sure, this might be as close as we may ever get to actually getting into Hogwarts.
I mean, I'm still waiting for my letter.
Yeah, keep waiting for your letter, but until then, this is probably as close as we're going to get. Now we are entering the Game of Thrones section, which is kind of lost on us because we have never gotten into Game of Thrones. But that's pretty cool. This is not Game of Thrones, this is Middle-earth. There's Mordor over here. What the heck is going on? Now we're heading to what looks like musical fandom. Sherri, when you were a teenager, did you have a Fall Out Boy bed like this?
I did not.
Were you a big Fall Out Boy fan?
No.
I like.
More so now that I'm older.
I actually agree with that. I like their stuff, but I didn't get into it before. Oh, and you can even see Pete Wentz's leather jacket back there on the drums. Now we're getting into some of the sports fandom. This is my language. So the Alaska Aces right here were a professional hockey team here in Anchorage, and they just actually ceased operations last year, so that was super sad, but they have their championship banner that used to hang in the arena, so that's actually kind of cool to see again. This was their mascot, Boomer. Bunch of Alaska Aces signed stuff, bunch of their jerseys up here on the wall. It's actually kind of cool because I literally never thought I'd see anything of the Alaska Aces again. We found this giant wall of magnetic letters, and so we did a little marketing. And then our camera battery died. Whoops. So we are back home now. Sherri, tell me your thoughts on both the museum and the Art of Fandom exhibit.
It was really cool. It felt like a real museum.
Yeah, that was one of the things we talked about in there. So it always felt like, it's like, oh, this is a nice museum for Anchorage, right? You guys have been to a place like that. It's like, oh, this is a nice museum for like X city. Right. This just feels like a nice museum now. Like I would take anybody from any city there. I was super impressed with the way they redid everything. Yeah. We used to be museum members and we went a lot more often. And then we kind of stopped that because it just used to be, I mean, again, just like nice, but just kind of nice for Anchorage. Right.
Now it's like really cool.
Yeah, so I'm super glad we went. I would like to go more often for sure. What'd you think of the Art of Fandom exhibit?
It was really neat.
I didn't know what to expect. You know, traveling exhibits, sometimes some are cool, some are not. I loved all the areas that it covered from like literary and movies like Star Wars. There was just like, it covered a lot.
Music and sports and
So I gotta say, number one, if you're in Anchorage, you've got to go check out the museum. Yeah. It really is tremendous. If you visit Anchorage, check it out. I think the Art of Fandom is at the museum until March, I believe. We're going to end the vlog here, and we will see you guys with our next vlog.